As the first pale rays of dawn slide gently across the still surface of the Adriatic lagoon, the water barely ripples. Mist drifts low, blurring the boundary between sea and sky. And then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, a vision of stone begins to take shape. It is not abrupt. It does not announce itself. It simply appears, like a memory rising from the depths of time. Welcome to Venice. Before us stands the Doge's palace, the Palazzo Ducale, a structure so light in appearance, so refined in detail, that it seems to hover above the water rather than rest upon it. Unlike the fortresses of Europe, built to intimidate and overpower, this palace seduces. It whispers power instead of shouting it. Pause for a moment. Breathe deeply. Can you sense the salt carried by the sea breeze? Can you feel the weight of centuries lingering in the air, clinging to stones that have witnessed ambition, glory, betrayal, and collapse? The Doge's palace was not merely a residence. It was the beating heart of the Venetian Republic, a maritime empire that once commanded trade routes stretching from northern Europe to the far edges of the eastern Mediterranean. What makes this palace truly extraordinary lies hidden beneath the waterline. Venice, after all, was never meant to exist. The city floats upon a fragile foundation of mud and sand. And yet, the palace stands firm, built upon millions of oak piles, driven deep into the lagoon floor. Submerged in water, deprived of oxygen, the wood hardened instead of rotting, forming an unseen forest that still supports this monument today. Now, lift your gaze to the palace facade. Pink Verona marble intertwines with white Istrian stone, forming a delicate diamond pattern that shimmers as the sun rises higher. Light plays across the surface, transforming solid stone into something almost textile, like silk woven from marble. The lower level is composed of elegant pointed arches resting on slender columns. They resemble lace carved by a patient hand, impossibly light, impossibly graceful. Above them rises the heavier mass of the palace, an architectural inversion that defies conventional logic. This was no accident. It was a statement. Venice was declaring her confidence to the world, a republic so assured of its power that it dared to balance stone upon air, order upon water, authority upon beauty. Let us now move forward, joining the slow procession of visitors passing beneath the Porta della Carta, the paper gate. This ceremonial entrance glows with gold and deep lapis blue tones, its surface alive with sculpture and symbolism. Crossing this threshold feels like stepping out of the ordinary world. The noise of the city softens. Sound echoes differently here. We enter a vast inner courtyard flooded with light. At its far end rises the staircase of the giants. Two colossal figures stand guard: Mars, god of war, and Neptune, god of the sea. Together, they proclaim Venice's dominion over land and water alike. This is where history unfolded in ritual and spectacle. Here, the Doge, elected for life, was crowned with the Corno Ducale, the horn-shaped ceremonial cap. Though he was the most powerful man in Venice, he was also its most constrained. The Venetian Republic feared tyranny above all else. The Doge lived in extraordinary luxury, yet every aspect of his life was monitored. He could not leave the palace unaccompanied. His letters were read, his actions scrutinized. Power, in Venice, was never allowed to belong to one man alone. Now, let us ascend the Scala d'Oro, the golden staircase. Each step draws us deeper into a world designed to impress, to overwhelm, to command respect. The ceiling above glows with gold leaf, shimmering softly under natural light. Mythological figures emerge from the ornamentation, frozen mid-motion, eternal witnesses to the Republic's authority. Here, ambassadors once climbed with measured steps, acutely aware that every glance, every gesture, was being observed. At the top, we arrive at the Hall of the Great Council. The sheer scale of the room is breathtaking. It stretches wide and open, uninterrupted by columns, an architectural feat that mirrors the political ideal of collective governance. Above us, the ceiling appears to float, richly carved and gilded. Along the walls hang portraits of the Doges, nearly all of them. One space is conspicuously dark. It marks the portrait of a doge who betrayed the state, a silent warning etched into the fabric of history. At the far end of the hall hangs Tintoretto's Paradise. It is vast beyond comprehension, a swirling cosmos of angels, saints, and divine light. Figures overlap and dissolve into one another, creating movement where there should be stillness. This was not decoration. This was ideology. Every political decision made beneath that painting unfolded under the gaze of heaven itself, or so Venice wished to believe. But beauty often conceals cruelty. As we move into quieter chambers, the atmosphere changes. The air feels heavier. The light dims. Embedded in the walls are stone carvings shaped like open mouths, the lions' mouths. They served as anonymous denunciation boxes. Anyone could accuse anyone else. A scrap of paper, a whispered suspicion, and a life could unravel. These accusations were reviewed by the Council of Ten, a secretive and feared body tasked with protecting the state at any cost. Trials were swift. Mercy was rare. From here, the condemned were led away, through narrow corridors, past thick stone walls, toward a passage that has come to symbolize Venice's darkest moment. The Bridge of Sighs. From the outside, it appears almost delicate, a white limestone bridge sealed shut, arching quietly over a narrow canal. But inside, it is somber and confined. Two small windows puncture the stone. Through them, prisoners caught a final glimpse of Venice, the water, the sky, the movement of life continuing without them. Imagine the weight of that moment. The realization that this beauty, this freedom, this world, is now forever out of reach. The sigh released in that instant was not loud. It did not echo. It was internal, a breath heavy with regret and finality. Centuries later, the poet Lord Byron would give the bridge its name, immortalizing that single human sound. Beyond the bridge lies the prison. The contrast is merciless. Here, light struggles to enter. The air is damp and cold. Walls press inward. Time slows. Cells were small, unforgiving. Hope was scarce. Yet even here, history finds its legends. Giacomo Casanova, philosopher, gambler, lover, was imprisoned within these walls. Held beneath the lead roof, where heat was suffocating in summer and cold in winter, he refused to surrender. Through ingenuity, patience, and audacity, Casanova escaped, climbing through the palace itself, vanishing into the city. His flight became a story of defiance against absolute control. Eventually, Venice herself could not escape time. In 1797, Napoleon's forces entered the city. The Venetian Republic, after more than 1,000 years, fell without resistance. The Doge abdicated. The great councils dissolved. An empire ended not with a battle, but with silence. Today, the palace remains. Millions pass through its halls each year. They marvel at the architecture. They photograph the Bridge of Sighs. They trace the same paths once walked by rulers, prisoners, artists, and traders. They come seeking beauty, but they leave carrying reflection. As evening descends, the palace transforms once more. Golden light softens into amber. Lanterns flicker along the waterfront. The lagoon mirrors a Venice that feels suspended between dream and memory. Here, amid water and stone, history exhales. Power fades. Empires collapse. But stories endure. Thank you for walking with me through the DOGE'S palace, through its splendor and its shadows. If this journey stirred something within you, if you find peace in these quiet echoes of the past, please consider subscribing to the channel, so we may continue exploring the world's timeless wonders together. Until our next journey, farewell, Venice. And may the sighs of history remind us how precious freedom truly is.